Someone asked me how I made this mask, so I'm gonna make a quick tutorial on how I made this exact mask out of cardboard and some other materials, but mainly cardboard. Yeah, you can also move the jaw, which is great. Make a reference of your face onto a piece of paper and look if it fits your face. It needs to go from your upper lip to your forehead and from one ear to the other ear with 2 centimeters space from the ear. You can see it for a second here. Not that clearly, but you can see it. If you think it's right, you can start drawing on the eye holes or draw on where exactly your eyes are under this mask. Quick tip, if you don't want to mess up and do it a second time, make everything too big rather than too small. Then you won't have to do it a second time and you can just fix small things. Now you draw on your eye shape over your eye reference thingy. Cut it out and draw it onto a piece of cardboard. And after that you cut that out again. To make this mask fit onto your face, bend it a little bit until it fully fits your face in one smooth motion like this. Now do the beak with one triangular piece of paper. You can see whether it's too big for you or too small. Trace that onto a piece of cardboard and cut it out again. And now is a little harder part. I used a paper packing tape to get these two together. Usually people use paper mache, which I didn't have at the time, so I just used this paper tape. Here's a sped up video of me gluing these two triangles together into a beak and then onto the mask. It's not that hard to me, but it's definitely the hardest part of the whole mask thing, next to the movable jaw mechanism. Also, can you tell I'm watching Husband Hotel on the iPad in the background? You can kinda see it. Also, if you want to make this look smoother, don't use one big piece, but use smaller tape pieces. I was just too lazy to do this properly because I'm gonna throw this thing out once I finish this tutorial. I don't need a second mask. You could either use acrylic paint or the paper tape to smooth out the inside of the eyes. I've used acrylic paint on my other mask since that was enough. But if you wanna be double secure, you can do both. Tested how big or how small it should be to rest comfortably against my head. I cut a small reminder into it and then glued it onto the back. Now both sides are glued on and I did the bottom part of the beak. I removed the small triangle, added borders again with the packing tape. Then looked at whether it fits onto my face and onto the mask. few times. I had to do this like 5 times until it worked properly. Just take your time with the movable jar thing. Now at the endoskeleton of the Chica mask, I put some tape over the edges again to make the edges smoother and less cardboardy looking. It makes it look prettier basically. The teeth are just small triangles which I attached with one big tape if you want them to actually hold onto the mask, but I use all-purpose glue. And here's the finished mask. You can now do whatever you want with this mask.